Ready to revamp your race team's look? Look no further than Epic Racewear. They're not just any ordinary merchandise supplier. They're the pit crew you need to take your team to the next level. Hats, pit shirts, tents, race suits, flags, gloves, marketing materials, bags, you name it, they have it. Dan Bailey and his talented crew at Epic Racewear will work tirelessly to provide you with an eye-catching design that will make your team stand out from the competition. Let's not forget about their unmatched creativity when it comes to making you look fresh and cool while promoting your partners. Epic Racewear is the real deal. Don't wait a second longer. Head over to epicracewear.ca today and start turning heads with your new and improved look. Trust us, you won't regret it. Imagewraps.ca is an exceptional design company that specializes in providing top-notch race car design services. From eye-catching race car numbers and striking schemes to captivating logos, Imagewraps.ca can bring your vision to life. With their unparalleled expertise and creativity, they have been responsible for crafting some of the most memorable and awe-inspiring rides in the industry. Led by the talented duo of Craig and Doug Camrath, the team at Imagewraps.ca is dedicated to delivering designs that not only make your partner stand out on the track, but also leave a lasting impression off of it. Trust in their professional touch to take your race car design to the next level and make a powerful statement.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Stickers and Scuffs podcast. Cam K, Graydon Bunn here with S&S Racer, and pretty good racer that is. Matt Robblee, driver of the 51 Pro Late model out at Delaware Speedway. Matt, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Well, it's exciting. We haven't had a Robblee on the show before, and one that has a big connection to both of us, really, because we are both big fans of the Ontario Sportsman Series, and Matt has a bit of a history in that division. Him and his dad pretty well mopped the floor with everybody when it first started. So let's go back.
We had a couple good days.
Yeah, you did. Let's go back, Matt. Let's start with kind of how you got involved in the racing deal. I mean, obviously your dad is Steve Robblee, and so obviously you've been around it. But how far back are we going? Like, as soon as you were born, you kind of got stuck in racing, or what?
Well, I mean, race cars have always been around. I mean, we used to have the race cars at the house when I was growing up, and as things progressed over the years, and shops got bigger, and the production got a little bit bigger, things moved away from home, mind you. But racing's always been a part of life. I mean, I got to start racing when I was, the summer I turned 12, so that'd be 2000. I got a couple of one-off starts in the J Car series, courtesy of the late great Brad Clark. He helped us out with a couple of one-offs there, and then into some other different types of karting, and then a full season in the J cars. And it kind of seemed like overnight it was racing trucks out at Delaware. It all happened really fast, actually.
Tend to hear that. Now, J car is junior late model, similar.
Yeah, junior late model. I think at the time it was still Cast Car Junior. I mean, that's how far back this is going. So it's been a while, but I got to run a handful of those events. I got to do the full season at Delaware when they still ran on Wednesday nights for a season, and that was loads of fun. And then I actually aged out of that just as I was getting going. So I turned 15, and then found myself behind the wheel of a truck out at Delaware. It was good times.
Truck racing, Graydon.
Yeah, and I find it so fascinating because it's a life that I want so bad, but I'm not born from it or born into it and that sort of thing. And you're the opposite, where it's like essentially all that you really know. So I mean, you're growing up with other racers' kids that you end up probably racing with in your adult life and stuff too. Like, just being immersed in it. Does it dawn on you? I don't know how to say it. Does it dawn on you like how cool that is, or is it? It was just such a way of life, I know, but like it's being kind of a relative newcomer in the competitive sense. It's such a cool way of life, and I wonder just if that resonates with you.
It does now, especially as I get older. Now I
Yeah.
have a son of my own, so the chance to be able to share something, with friends and family has been great. Maybe I don't want to say I didn't appreciate it because I really did. I've always had fun racing, but especially as I've gotten older, I've really come to appreciate just how fortunate and just how special it was that I got these opportunities. And I try not to take that for granted. I mean, especially when things get really competitive and things get tough. Sometimes you just gotta sit down and remind yourselves, like, hey, dude, you're a race car driver. I'm a pretty lucky guy.
Yeah, it's just something that I feel like for whatever reason, life is teaching me something about perspective right now. And I just kind of wanted to see what that was like from your standpoint too, because it just seems um, it's such a cool thing. Yeah, I just think it's really neat that it's a family deal, and it has been for a long time, and it still continues to be for you guys.
That's right. That's right. And one of the more special parts of my career, especially again as I get a little bit older and get a little more perspective, like you say, is just how lucky I was to race with my dad.
Yeah.
He raced for a long time. I know a lot of racers come from racing families, but they don't necessarily get to compete with their parents like I did. And it wasn't like a retirement tour. I mean, dad was still ultra competitive during those years. Really helped me progress with my racing, and with the series of the Sportsman Series, that inaugural season in 2007, I believe it was. We had a lot of great success and a lot of fun, and I learned a lot, and he got to still maintain that competitive spirit that I know he still has.
Yeah, that's cool. Dad could be like, "Here, Sean. Here, son. Let me show you how it's done." Still.
There were many occasions when that was the case, I tell you.
So how do you so you're in the Sportsman Series for a little bit of time. You got out there, you're very successful running with your dad, and I think it was like 2007, probably around 2010, I think would maybe be the last time you were kind of around in that. Where do you go from
I
there?
believe we did. Yeah, so in and around 2010, 2011, we were still racing the Sportsman Series as well as the weekly Delaware Late Model Series. There was a stretch there, like 2009, 2010, where we raced like every weekend. So we did the full Delaware season with two cars. We did the full Sportsman Series with two cars, and that was when they were doing double features for the Sportsman Series. So on any given weekend, we'd be racing, three features, like Friday night and two on Saturday night. And if you look back at the schedule, I do believe there was no, like, one weekend where if we were racing Friday night, you'd be sure we'd have a race on Saturday night. Like anytime we were running one, we ran both.
Wow.
How was
Yeah,
it
so
back then though? Like
it
how
was
was it?
busy.
Yeah.
It was really busy. That was at a time at both Delaware and in the OSS division when there was lots of cars and there was lots of competition. I mean, I think at the time they were racing. Yeah, at the time we were still racing the NASCAR series out at Delaware, so car counts were up, and we had to make a certain number of races to make it worthwhile for the points for the national title. So I believe we ran 16 race weekends at Delaware, and I believe 7 race weekends with the Sportsman Series. So I just remember it being a lot of fun, but very, very busy.
When you're growing up in a situation like that, does it ever get, I guess, was it ever a time where you're like, this sucks, like this is too much?
No, no, really not. I mean, I was lucky to, I was, at the time I was, 22, 23 years old. I was like establishing my regular career. It wasn't like I was, 17 and getting dragged to the races every weekend because I said I wanted to do it. I was there because I wanted to be there. Everyone who helped us out was there because they wanted to be there. And we were very fortunate, to not only have, a great car owner in Jerry Finley, but to have some great people helping us throughout the years, both in sponsors and in crew members. We've been very lucky, and I have been throughout my entire career. It's the only reason I've been able to race is just to have those people around me.
Of course, like your racing name or your last name, Robblee. I mean, talk about the family tree of racing. I mean, the influences you've had through your life, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, the whole family racing deal actually goes back beyond my dad. Actually, my grandfather used to build super modified back in the day. Actually, in the garage here at home, I've got a car that he built in 1961 or 62. We figure, so it's pretty cool. It's an old B type stand-up super modified. It's pretty dangerous looking, but he didn't do too much driving, my grandfather, but he did build a lot of cars. He sold cars and had different drivers run for him. Actually, he got out of racing before my dad decided to start himself. So when Dad decided to go racing, it was 100% his decision and 100% on his own to get started. He actually got a little bit of discouragement at home when it come to wanting to start racing. So when he decided to do it, it was 100%. It was a huge undertaking for him.
Mm-hmm.
The funny thing about this, I was just thinking about that OSS deal. Your car is still in the series, if I'm not mistaken. I believe
Yeah,
Laura Authier is driving your car.
That's right. That number 30 car, that car has made the rounds since I've left the series. I know Brent Weller owned it for a period. Him and Kevin Gallant toured that car around a little bit. I know I got to drive the car back a couple years. I think it might have been 2021 when Norm Benning came to Full Throttle.
Yeah.
Anyway, they weren't sure he was going to make it on time, so they asked if I would come, run some hot laps in the car and possibly qualify it. So I got to go. My good friend and crew chief John came with me. We made the trip up and got to run a couple of hot laps in that thing, which was really cool because I hadn't seen the car in a number of years. It was a little older, but looked exactly the same, felt exactly the same. It was really a really cool deal. I'm glad to see that car's still making the rounds because it was a good piece then. And if those traveling guys are taking care of it like I know they will, it's still going to be a nice little hot rod.
Definitely is. And so you make the trek, you're doing the weekly late model deal. OSS, you kind of stopped doing that. Now, have you stuck to just doing were you just at Delaware or did you do like APC at all?
No, so in and around that time, Dad and I decided to kind of do our own thing. So we built that super stock that we had for a number of years. We got a lot of help from a lot of the same people, but Jerry Finley decided to take a step back from racing, as after a long successful career that he had. It was good for him to be able to take some time away, and we kind of got to do our own thing. I got to learn a lot, especially about what it actually takes to run a race team. I'm still kind of figuring that out, but it was really cool. We built that race car, back in 2011. Our first campaign with that car was 2012. We built that car from a bare chassis up, and we were successful right off the bat. I mean, we won the 2012 Owners Championship. We missed the point steal by a points technicality in a way, but we had a lot of fun. We won a lot of races with that car, and then actually back in 2019, I believe it was, we sold that car to some gentlemen out in Penticton, British Columbia, and they picked up right where we left off and won a whack of races with that car again. So it's still out there and it's still going and going strong.
When you guys are as immersed in the racing as you were, and as you spoke to having driven for a car owner and then having run your own race team and still doing so, you've really worn the hat or all the hats of a race team, and you can speak to the business of it. And how is things evolving where you have to maybe change up your business strategy, your marketing strategy as things sort of change because you've done it or your family's done it for so long, Matt?
I think the biggest thing that's changed is just how people communicate. I mean, 25 years ago when I started racing, there was no Facebook, there was no Instagram. I don't even think there was a YouTube. So like things like podcasts and social media, they weren't really on anybody's radar because it didn't exist. Now, as things evolved, this is so important. The things that you guys do and the things that all the other internet personalities have kind of taken the reins on has really replaced things like newspaper articles and magazine ads. Those things still exist, but I mean, really the forefront is all the internet content and all the things that guys like you are doing that have really helped out racing over the years.
How do you think, like, this might not really be a question pertaining to your racing, but like, I'm looking at my bookshelf full of like old racing programs and say, like, how are we going to archive all this stuff? If we all go back to the dark ages someday and all the internet breaks, where are we going to have all this stuff? Because I mean, it's cool to go over to a bookshelf and pull out old racing programs, and I'm sure like your family probably has some pretty awesome things in your collection.
Yeah, we got some pretty stellar stacks of programs and stuff from the 80s, actually. But actually, one of the things that Delaware's done in the last couple of years is bring back that weekly printed program. They give it out
Yes.
every week to anybody for free. They do a really great job putting it together. And, I've got a stack of them. I get one every week, and I'm going to keep those forever because, like you say, it's one of those keepsake things that they can put it online. It's not as special. It's nice to hold that in your hands and be able to look through it and say, hey, there's my picture, there's my car, there's my guys. It's great, and I really do hope they continue doing that.
Yeah, I agree. I love that tangible paper copy of something where it gives it kind of that nostalgic feel. But yeah, like you can look at it years later when you get up in the morning or whenever you want without having to click on something that's just on a shelf there. I like that.
Yeah. And I was surprised too. I was kind of, when you're running your own deal and trying to save money and things like that, you kind of cut corners on certain things. One of the things that I hadn't been very good at was, having things like to give away. So like hero cards are a great example. Last
Mhm.
year I got hero cards printed, and I got like 500 of them, and I thought, oh my God, I'm never going to get rid of these things. I don't have any left. They are all gone. And for the terrible weather that we've had, especially in the last 2 years, the fact that they canceled all those autograph sessions just due to poor weather, and I still managed to hand out 500 of these things is actually spectacular.
It is pretty remarkable, and it's cool to see like whether it's a kid who's 4 or a kid who's 44 or 84 getting a hero card and they enjoy it. I mean, that's cool to give those away to people like that.
Yeah, you definitely have to have that tangible, thing in hand that you can take home with you, even if you don't
Yeah.
keep it. I mean, they make great posters and placemats too. I mean, if you need another one, I'll gladly sign
Yeah.
another.
Let's talk about the season that you've had. Prolate's a little bit smaller of a field this year, full time out at Delaware, but nonetheless still very competitive. Ray Morneau comes away with the championship. I mean, we kind of figured that Ray Morneau is going to have a good amount of championships. They do a good job over there. But how did you find that this season went for you?
Well, we've been struggling a little bit. Towards the end of this year, things got a little bit better. We've been running the Pro Late model deal on our own with our own car for, oh gosh, 4 or 5 years now. We started in 2019. We purchased an old car from Shea Gemmell, actually. The Gemmells are great friends and family, great friends of the family. And just last year, we decided, okay, we're gonna step our program up and put a new car together. And I think I'm going to jump into a brand new race car and everything's going to be hunky dory. But that's not always the case. I mean, you get them new car gremlins sneak up on you, and it's been a while. It's been a process, but I think after all this time, we finally put a decent piece together. It's been a ton of hard work, but it's really rewarding when those things come around and get good for you. The last couple of races there, we had a pretty good piece, and I'm really looking forward to next year.
It's one thing that I think we can say, and I think for yourself, I wonder what what this experience is like, because now you guys have a weekly recording of your races, which is something that not a lot of tracks do get. I mean, you have a Rogers TV that comes there every week, and yeah, sometimes they get the names wrong, and sometimes they get stuff mixed up. But you guys got a lot of racers out there at Delaware Speedway. I mean, hell, you get somewhere's 40, 50 bone stocks sometimes, and your prolates, you get a good 18, sometimes less. Sometimes there's 14, sometimes there's 13, but you always have a pretty good show. Competition wise, Delaware Speedway is still the place I think that most people go to watch. What's it like though, seeing that you guys have weekly recording?
It's great, actually. And, like you say, sometimes I get the names wrong. Sometimes the quality of the broadcast isn't the best. But I mean, everybody remembers a time when there was nothing. You just had to
Nothing.
like scour the internet for results, or you just don't have them at all. So the fact that we have that available to us as a resource is phenomenal. I mean, like one of the questions you get asked by like non-race fans, like, "Oh, are your races on TV?" And for the longest time, say, "Oh no, it's not really like that." Well, now no, it absolutely is. It's on, it's on regular television. It's on the internet. It's available after the fact. It's a great tool for showcasing the things that we do. And you talk about car counts, and that's a difficult thing, but it's always been that way, and it's cyclical. It goes up and down, and it always has. You look at car counts across, Canada and the US, late model car counts kind of trend up and down. Super stock, they do the same thing. I mean, you see those really good solid numbers in the bone stock series. It's been, I don't know how much more growth they can get out of that little series. They've done a really great job. And then the biggest surprise to me actually this year has been that V8 stock series. When they first come around, it was kind of like the bone stocks. But slowly but surely they just keep adding cars and adding people and adding interest. And it doesn't matter what kind of racing you do. If you can put a good number of cars on the racetrack, you're bound to put on a good show.
I can't argue with you there because I mean, I got to get your opinion though. You like the idea of the bracket racing or no?
I like it, and I see where you're going. And it'd be very easy to say I don't like that because it's not the type of racing that I do or the type of racing that I enjoy. But I think anything at all that gets people interested in motorsports and gets people, in the pits and into race cars and gets, fans in the stands and people watching on TV, anything to just drive interest towards motorsports here in Ontario is a good thing and can't be scoffed at.
And it is like
Yep.
having tried it in the combined force, like the predecessor to the Epic Racewear Bone Stocks at Sauble, where it was bracket racing. It's an interesting concept. I mean, it's essentially like drag racing in an oval in terms of the bracket thing, but like it's a discipline just like any other type of racing. It's just another kind of it, and it's like I said, it was unique, and it's kind of a compelling thing if you kind of get your head around it. It can be entertaining, I think.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And my heart is always going to be so close to super stock racing because I did that for so long, and to late model racing because I've been involved with it for so long, and that's the avenue that I've gone. But the reality is that not everybody is going to get an opportunity to run a competitive late model car. So it becomes, well, like what better, doing this or doing nothing. Well, like I think I think that V8 series is a great opportunity for guys to get racing or even to get involved in racing. It's, we've lost that kind of stepping stone. I mean, a super stock in itself is a huge undertaking now. It's not that stepping stone series like it used to be where you could, get into an enduro car and then do a truck or a street stock and then kind of work your way up into a cast car late model. It's like, you're jumping into some pretty stout equipment when you're getting into a super stock now. So having that available to get seat time and to get used to driving, rear wheel drive race cars is a really important thing to have at the Speedway.
Absolutely.
Is there something that
yeah.
you haven't raced yet that you want to?
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna
Oh,
ask.
is it okay? All right.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a bucket list like everyone else. I mean, there was cars that I would definitely race, like say like anything on a road course. I'd love to try one of those Canadian Tire NASCAR Canada Series cars on a road course situation. I've never done it. I think it would be great. I love Outlaw Super Late models. Those cars are just, phenomenal to me. And then beyond that, like there's cars I'd like to drive but not race. So like a super modified, for example, I'd like to go maybe half speed and just get a feel for what that. I don't know how I'd fare with open wheeled anything. I mean, my body work kind of tells the story on that situation. But any opportunity to do something different sure is exciting. But on the other side of that, it's like everybody's always seems to be talking about like what's next, what are your aspirations, what are the things you want to do. For me, I've always thought that anything I can do to just keep doing what I'm doing is success. I would love nothing more than to be able to run APC races and try my hand out at the tour. But the fact fact is, we're not at a position where we can do that. But there's nothing wrong with being a Friday night guy. So, I mean, I have no problem doing what we're doing. And if the right opportunity comes around to try something like that, I'm all for it. But again, we're racing within our means and we're having fun doing it. That's the important part.
Man, talk about like tying in this whole perspective thing I've been going on lately, man. That's exactly it. And I had a beer over at my buddy's place on Friday after work, and we had this exact thing, not about racing, just about living within your means. And it's absolutely translatable to racing. And just as you said, and this is something that Cam and I have said too, like whether it's a NASCAR Truck Series driver or, as you said, like a Delaware Pro Late driver, there's nothing wrong with just, like you say, making a successful career. Like if you can come back and advance your position year by year or contend for a title, or you're going to have cyclical years, as you say, about racing in general, but like your own career can do that too. But I mean, you can settle yourself in for one hell of a ride in a race car just in one series alone, if I'm not mistaken.
Absolutely. And it really goes, it really helps my sponsors specifically. Like my sponsors, the majority of them are from the London area and the surrounding areas, like VIP Auto Pro. They got 3 locations right in London. Ace Auto Parts, they're just down the street, headed towards Woodstock there. Kettley Farms, they're in Appin. Central Machinery, they're friends of ours. They're from the area. Prema, Ontario, they're right in Wabano, just outside of Dorchester, where we keep the race car. I mean, these are people and businesses that are close to where we race. So, being able to race here in the London area is great for them and great for us. It's a great way to showcase their businesses to their customers.
And these like the home track feel needs you. I mean, like that type of thing where you have that kind of community spirit and the involvement of local businesses that they can count on you to represent them and represent them well at the track, and that's a good thing. I mean, why would you want to change that? I mean, that's pretty cool, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it's afforded me to do a lot of wonderful and exciting things, and I look forward to being able to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Matt Robblee has been one of the cool names to have on Stickers and Scuffs Racing family this year, and we didn't have a ton of representation out at Delaware in the relates, but we had yourself and Jane Chapman, and it was almost like you guys got stuck together all year, really. Like, I don't know how you guys managed that, but you guys were always racing each other out there. And I remember catching one of your wins. It would be a couple years ago. It was on one of the Rogers broadcasts, and I kind of, I don't want to say this, but I was kind of like, oh, Matt Robblee's still racing. That's wicked. And because I remember, I remember back when OSS was just starting, and it was the dominant 28 and 27 car, and you guys, I want to say your dad had like a pinkish red car at one point, and then you also had something similar, Nala High.
Yeah, they kind of changed. So the first year we ran in '07, we had matching cars. They were black with a really cool blue graphic on it. And then after that, Dad's cars went red for a while. I kept with I can't remember now. Anyways, any version of black and red for a stretch, and then in that last couple of years there, we had these really cool wraps done. Mine being like a white and black kind of product with some funky designs on the side of it, and Dad's, I believe, was blue and yellow. They were really bright and really vibrant, and that was at the time when race car wraps were really starting to become popular, and we had some pretty stout looking cars.
Definitely did, and I love the fact that you guys went 27-28. There's not enough of that, like that uniformity in teams in families and stuff. So I really like that. But I did tell you beforehand that you get the opportunity to shout at your partners and anybody that helps you get to the racetrack each and every week. Anybody that you want to thank, this is your time to shout those people out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I definitely got to thank all of my partners, VIP Auto Pro. Those guys have been helping me out for. I had to do the math earlier today. We're coming up on 12 years with them, and it's been a fantastic partnership. And we're really looking forward to showcasing their brand. Federated Insurance, Ray Cullen, Ball Construction, Cataly Farms, Central Machinery, Abbey Motorsports, Prema, Stellar Chiropractic, and I'm sure Distra, Dulux Coatings. There's so many people who've helped us out, and I'm sure I'm forgetting some, and I really do apologize. But there are so many people. The businesses are one thing, but it's always the people that are associated with them that are really important to us, and we see that across motorsports in Ontario, especially. It's not just VIP Auto Pro. It's Big John and Paul and those guys who run those businesses and really support us. That really makes it happen. And without the people involved, it doesn't mean anything. We're so very fortunate to have them with us.
Oh, what a pro, eh? He got that Trevor Culver-esque speech out there, man. That's impressive.
I wasn't going to compare because I'm reading it off of a card here. He does it off the top of his head.
Give us
man,
one name.
great.
Give us one name that is out at Delaware Speedway, a younger racer that we should be watching out for, someone that's going to make a lot of noise.
Oh gosh, at Delaware specifically, there are so many. I tell you, I'd like to see more from the Patricks. I'd like to see young Patrick there, maybe in a super stock or a late model. I know young Mike Herniak's going to be running a super stock there. I hope he has a lot of success as far as the late models are concerned. I mean, I'm really just rooting for myself, man. I got to throw that in there. But
hell yeah, buddy, yeah.
we've got a great group. We've got a great group of guys running that series. Like you say, the numbers are small right now, but I mean, at any given night, there's half a dozen or more cars that could win them races, and that's not an exaggeration. That's not a joke. It's a fact. We've got some really stellar equipment, and then throw in a couple of those special events, and you get the Steckleys and the Sheridans and the Gemmels show up. I mean, we put on a really good show, and I'm really looking forward to continuing.
Well, this was awesome to have Matt Robblee of the famous Robblee family, and of course himself, a very successful racer. It's been an absolute honor having to be on your 51 car this year. We can't look forward to hopefully to be back on in 2025. And
Absolutely.
hell yeah, there we go, confirming the news right here, folks. And we can't wait to see what 2025 brings for you, and hopefully it's very successful. And we wish you the very best off season, Matt.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, and everybody really appreciates everything you guys do. So keep up the great work.
I really appreciate it. Thank you. That is Matt Robblee here on the Stickers and Scuffs podcast. We'll catch you all next week.